Howdy folks, wake up. This is Wake Up with Mark Joyner, episode number 34, and today we're going to ask the question, is nature trying to send us a message? Okay guys, we had a misfire there a minute ago. Once again, the sound was not coming through, but hopefully the sound is coming this time. I'm going to check the chat here to make sure that the sound is actually on this time. So if you guys can send me some messages, thank you guys for alerting me to the fact that the sound was not on that last time. I saw those messages after the fact. I was not checking them live, but I would like to see some comments from you guys if you're watching this version, this new version, to make sure that the sound is working. I'm pretty sure it is this time because I think I found what the problem was. All right, let's just dive right into this. I'm gonna go ahead and roll. So last night I was preparing my dinner, and right as I had finished preparing my dinner, I had it set there on the table, and the dog in the house came up and started barking at me, and I could tell he was really trying to get my attention. And animals have instincts, and sometimes they know if there's something wrong, if there's somebody out there. Okay, thank you, by the way, for the feedback, Richard. The sound is working this time. All right, we got this. I got to systemize this, obviously, guys, so that we don't have this problem again. I went out and I was looking for to find out what was going on. Now, by the way, I'm not really a dog person. I'm not really into dogs, but my roommates are gone, so I'm the only person here to give this animal some love. So I'm kind of getting close with this dog, and getting over my general antipathy towards dogs. I love this guy, right? He's a great guy, and so he's barking at me, and I get out there and I'm looking around, and he kept barking right until the moment where I looked up and I looked off and I saw the moon. And right when I looked at the moon, he stopped barking. I could tell in that moment that's what he was trying to get me to look at. And what I saw was that there was, in that moment, a full blood moon in the sky. Now, I don't think blood moon was the technical term for it this time. You'll have to ask the astronomers what the specific astronomical term for this particular phenomenon was in this particular case. But there it was, and I found out after the fact that this was a predicted astronomical phenomenon to happen last night. And man, it was a spooky moment. So I went out and I ran upstairs to get a better vantage of it. Sat out on the porch there and sat down in a contemplative position and watched it. Played a little Nick Drake Pink Moon on my phone there for a while and just enjoyed watching that in that moment. And it was really kind of special. And I was thinking, about the connection between ourselves and nature, about how animals have certain instincts. And I went to sleep, woke up this morning, did my morning routine. I was watching the sunrise, as I normally do, doing my Wim Hof breathing. All right, the dog is trying to get inside the house here. I'm going to let him in. Go ahead, buddy. You go. Now you don't want to go? All right. You hang out here then. All right, so anyway, as I was watching it this morning, hey buddy, here he is hanging out here. All right, so as I was watching it, something struck me. I'm doing my Wim Hof breathing. I'm watching the sunrise, and I remembered something really profound that was kind of deeply connected with this, and that was that years ago, when the Southeast Asian tsunami hit and killed so many thousands of people, including so many people in Phuket, I remember that was the time I had first had contact with the great Rupert Sheldrake. Since then, Rupert and I have shared a lot of communication. I even interviewed him. You guys may have listened to that interview on my blog. He's a really profound and interesting man. But the reason I contacted him was because I wanted to tell him, I said, did you hear about how in Phuket none of the animals were killed when the tsunami hit? Thousands of people were killed, but no animals. And I said, this is, proof positive of the stuff that you've been talking about. And if you guys don't know anything about Rupert Sheldrake, he has been amassing an enormous body of evidence to support the notion that there is this thing called what he calls the morphic field, and that there is this phenomenon called morphic resonance, where we are sharing information between ourselves. Animals are passing information between each other, and even inanimate objects are passing information to living things through this morphic field. And he even creates experiments that you can perform yourself to demonstrate that this is an observable phenomenon. So, for example, you may have experienced the sense that somebody is staring at you, and then and you can feel it in the back of your neck, and then you turn around, and then it turns out, yes, indeed, they are looking at you. Well, he's actually set up protocols to show that this is an observable phenomenon to a statistically significant degree. And I thought, wow, isn't that amazing? Here I am in Phuket, and I had never been to Phuket when I first sent that communication off to Richard. And here I am just having last night having experienced something that was rather strange. You know, this dog was trying to tell me something about, watching this blood moon. And he stopped barking the moment I looked at it. It wasn't anything going on outside. I don't think it was a coincidence. It certainly didn't seem to be. And that made me think about this notion of entanglement. So there's a lot of scientific evidence to show that perhaps we are all connected, maybe even across space and time, in very, very strange ways. If you don't know what spooky action at a distance is, or entanglement is, to put it simply, there's this really strange phenomenon where two particles can pass information to each other faster than speed of light. They can pass information to each other instantaneously. Now, this defies the laws of physics as we currently know them. We don't, up to that point, we thought that nothing could travel faster than the speed of light. Go ahead, buddy. There you go. There you go. All right. We thought that nothing could travel faster than the speed of light, but here we are observing this through this phenomenon of entanglement, that yes, indeed, information can be passed faster than the speed of light. And that got me to think about something else. If you ever talk to any of the people who've gone into the Amazon rainforest and done ayahuasca ceremonies with shamans, they come back with some very interesting tales. And one of the things that I have heard relayed from people who came back from the Amazon rainforest was that there was a shaman who told him, he said, look, so many of you people in the West are sick and depressed. You don't know what's going on in your bodies. You feel disconnected somehow. You feel disjointed. You feel like something is wrong, but you can't put your finger on it. He says, I can tell you exactly what it is. It's very simple. The problem with you guys in modernity, the problem with you guys in the West, is that you have lost your connection with nature. You have lost your connection with nature. And as I get older and I get stronger, that's my intention now as I get older, to make myself stronger, to get fitter. I have found that I've been drawn more and more towards nature. My connection with nature is getting deeper. This is why I watch the sunrise in the morning. It's why I'm out in midday getting sun on my skin. Everything that I do these days is moving more and more and more in that direction. Yes, I do some artificial interventions in my fitness endeavors, but they are fewer and fewer over time, because I find that I get more power out of nature. For example, why am I getting sun on my skin even though dermatologists tell you it's a really, really bad idea? Well, I feel stronger when I do it. And one thing that we do know to corroborate my hypothesis about this is that vitamin D is a precursor to our sex hormones. You are not going to be able to be as much of a man without getting a full dose of vitamin D every day. Again, talk to your dermatologist about this and make your own decisions, but that is something that I have been doing for a long time that has helped me quite a bit. So I don't really know where I'm going with this, guys. I don't know if there's a particular point to make here, except that I just want to share these observations with you. Perhaps in our disconnection with reality and our connection to screens and to fantasy, and our avoidance of our responsibilities, our avoidance of difficulty, our avoidance of struggle, our desire to seek comfort outside of nature, perhaps this is all the wrong stuff, guys. Perhaps the stuff that we really need is out there in nature. Perhaps we're supposed to be struggling on a day-to-day basis. Perhaps nature is designed such that it gives us struggles in ways that are going that are designed to make us stronger, right? And perhaps we're also getting benefit from nature that we are losing in our disconnection with nature. And I think that that's got to be true. Yesterday I was talking about how most of us are only functioning at a tiny fraction of our potential. And I strongly suspect that part of that potential, part of unleashing that potential, is getting ourselves reconnected with nature. Reconnected with nature. Get out there, get out there in the real world. Walk on the ground with bare feet. Be out in the sun. Be exposed to the elements. Seek challenges. Don't seek comfort, seek challenges. And maybe we're going to discover that there are more things in nature that we should be getting inside of our bodies. And I do believe that science is corroborating this as well. We know now, for example, that a lot of melatonin is produced in the morning when you get morning sunlight. We think that it's a nighttime phenomenon, and it is, but that store of melatonin is generated by getting that sunlight in the morning. What other things are we going to discover that we're supposed to be getting from nature that we're not getting when we're locked into our little sequestered houses, okay, looking at our screens that we know now are making us sick in multiple ways? What are we missing? And what could we be unlocking in ourselves by getting out into nature? And I know that there are a lot of science bigots out there who are going to tell me, well, that all sounds like a lot of woo-woo stuff. But in my estimation, science is actually corroborating this. If you look at real science, honest science, not hubristic science that says that we've got it all figured out, because we don't have it all figured out. We don't. Nature is much wiser than we are. There are secrets in nature waiting for us to unlock them. And there are things inside of us that I think can probably only be unlocked by these secrets that nature is waiting for us to unravel. All right, guys, that's it for today. Hope you all have a beautiful day, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.